Welcome back to Unverified. We're excited, even though there isn't all that much to talk about. There still is a lot to talk about. We got a bunch of drivers who are never going to race in an IndyCar testing, which is going to be great. We'll talk about that. Cleveland. My God, we might be actually talking. Cleveland says they want to come back. I want to get back with Cleveland. The Coats suck. The Coats, wave it off. It's all over. It's all over. The Coats, they blew it. It's all over.
I just saw David switched hats.
I did switch hats because the Tigers won today, Kyle. How do you feel about that? While we're talking about Cleveland sports? No, yeah. Aren't they? Yeah, Cleveland sports, yeah.
I hate it.
It's great.
But they're going to win tomorrow, and then it's going to go to Thursday, so it's fine.
You know what Detroit also has? An IndyCar race. Yeah, that's tough. Hello, Tony. How are things going over there in Tonyland? Why are you wearing a Mariners hat?
Because they didn't play today because they are already advanced to the next round while you guys battle it out. I'm wearing a Mariners hat because I grew up a White Sox fan in the 90s, but also a huge Mariners fan because of, as you know, Ken Griffey Jr., who drove last year's Indianapolis 500 pace car.
There will be hints.
If you never thought I could keep a secret, that was. Should we tell? I mean, that's a pretty good story. I was told.
Yeah, go ahead, because that's the only secret you've ever kept in your life, and let's just get it out there.
There's a couple others. I mean, I don't have to keep some of the ones that you've told me. So last year, my parents live in Seattle. My dad and my stepmom live in Seattle, and I grew up King Griffey Jr. diehard, and so I had gotten word that he was going to drive last year's Indianapolis 500 pace car, and our friends at Chevy would have given us were going to give me an opportunity to meet him as long as I just kept it on the hush and didn't say anything. So the next day, I think I wore my King Griffey Jr. jersey. One day I wore a King Griffey hat, a shirt. I brought like a bobblehead and a plaque in. And David's like, why the hell? Like, why are you, why are you like, it's May. It's not playoffs. It's not, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you like, why are you wearing all this like I had a hoodie that I wore and David's like, I don't understand. And then, the conversation would end and I'd be like, oh yeah, by the way, I know who the pace car driver is. I'm not going to tell you, but there will be hints. And then wouldn't they announce that? Maybe the week of the race, maybe carb day. And so Saturday night before the 2024 500, my happy ass walks down to the racetrack and Parks walks in and there's nobody there. It was probably one of the craziest feelings to be at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, at 6 p.m. on a Saturday night, knowing the gates are 12 hours from opening and hundreds of thousands of fans are going to walk in. And there's nobody around. Like, everything is set up. Everything is set up for the race. The stage, and you're looking around going, oh my gosh, it's a crazy feeling. And so I go look at my email. I'm like, oh, crap. King Griffey Jr., they moved the availability up to a half hour ago. I'm screwed. And somebody, I'm not going to name names, somebody from IMS walks up and was like, oh, yeah, you're here to possibly meet Ken, right? And I said, well, I'm wearing my hat backwards and a Ken Griffey Jr. shirt. I mean, you tell me. No, I'm here to make sure that the grass is cut down there in turn one for the photo on the opening lap.
Well, no, Tom Blomqvist is making sure of that.
Yeah, that was true. So, long story short, this person was like, well, let me go talk to the other person who works at IMS. And they were like, hey, Tony's out here. And our friend Ashley, who formerly worked at Chevy, was like, yep, give him at least 5 minutes. Walked in, and we started talking. And it was, I'm romantic about baseball. I'm passionate about racing. I played basketball. I'm a really big basketball fan. But, to be able to meet, one of your heroes in the 90s from a totally different sport that really has nothing to do with the sport that you live in, that you are constantly covering, that in the month of May you're dedicating, every ounce of soul power and energy to that was really cool to me. Did it do a lot for a lot of other people that weren't raised in the 90s? Probably not, but no, it was super fun. Cleveland, which is Kyle's team, we know he is from the state of Ohio. David was born in Michigan. He's a Tigers fan, so they battled it out today. Both boys, Kyle and David, a little bit under the weather, so if you hear some coughing, you know why. So
wait. I got to call you out on something.
Uh-oh.
you got told a secret, and the first thing that you do is you bring all of your memorabilia of the guy who, and then you just proceed. And by the way, this is how I know I'm dense sometimes. I might be a dumb blonde. I think I am. And I'll show you at some point pictures of me at 5 years old. I was as blonde as it gets, all right? So that happens sometimes. I have some dumb blonde moments. And boy, oh boy, did that just... And I'm like, what is he talking about? There will be hints. I mean, there were two things Tony talked about in the month of May in 2024. I don't know if I was just not plugged in or whatever. It was Chili's.
It was
and it was Ken Griffey Jr.
It perfectly added to the point that we were making that Ken Griffey, like, it did nothing for anybody who didn't grow up in the 90s. And that was me. I didn't even know who the guy was. And so when he says there will be hints, I didn't see the hints. I didn't know who he was hinting at. So if that was further proof that it didn't make a difference that he was in the pace car.
It was fun, though. It was fun.
And go to Chili's?
Yeah, it was really between like the three of us and maybe 2 or 3 other people. It's not like anybody else in the media center really knew what was going on. But yeah, that was the 2024 lore was King Griffey Jr., one of the best players of all time, was going to drive the pace car, and we were all going to end up at Chili's at some point, which we did after the race. So a lot of comments going on right now. We've got Dude Bro sources to get into. We've got testing coming up. We've got Mark Miles writing checks that may not be cashed. Oh, okay. Although David would really, really enjoy if this check was cashed and IndyCar made its return to Cleveland. So, David, the floor is yours to talk about the race outside of the Indianapolis 500 that you talk about the absolute most, one of your favorite places, going back to old Cleveland.
So what's so funny is, like, I feel like I've already done this before. Like, I did this with Milwaukee. I want to be very clear that, like, Milwaukee, you know, I don't think I, like, but, like, I was very, like, I'd never been to Milwaukee in my life. I just was like, it would be a great race for IndyCar. This would be perfect. It'd be great. You know, let's do it. Let's fill the stands, you know. And then they finally announced it. I remember hearing about Milwaukee. I think that was St. Pete 2022. I went to dinner with a friend of mine, and the friend, like, pulled me aside and said, I hear they're replacing Texas with Milwaukee. And at that time, Texas sucked. Texas was, like, the worst race on the schedule. And I'm, like, going, oh, dude, that's the best thing ever. So, wake up this morning, and all of a sudden, my phone's flooded. My phone's flooded with messages. And it says, Sternbaum, our good friend Adam Stern, had it that Cleveland might be coming back. Like, Cleveland, the city, is pushing for an IndyCar race to come back. I actually have the statement. We're actually going to read a statement on Unverified. It's unbelievable. This comes from, what is this? 19 News in Cleveland. Kyle, what is 19 News in Cleveland? Actually, don't explain that. So so this is actually, as far as I can tell, IndyCar doesn't necessarily have a lot to do with this yet. So not necessarily Mark Miles cutting a check yet, but it's the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission, and they had this comment, which says, the possibility of hosting a major event on the scale of IndyCar presents
Cleveland 19 is the CBS affiliate, by the way.
It's the CBS affiliate, race fan, so they have no reason to gas up a series owned by Fox. The possibility of hosting a major event on the scale of IndyCar presents an exciting opportunity for Northeast Ohio. Greater Cleveland Sports Commission is evaluating this opportunity as we remain committed to bringing these world-class events to our region, events that inspire community, attract significant visitor spending, and generate meaningful economic impact through Greater Cleveland. So there is a push. I don't know where the push is coming from. I saw some locals in my Twitter replies mentioning that that the Browns might move out of Cleveland. Kyle, you might be able to kind of talk about that a little bit more, but this might be a little bit of a coin flip to the folks in downtown Cleveland. Certainly, I think we all hope that it's at the Burke Lakefront Airport, which I understand is kind of like halfway between shutting down and not shutting down. So we obviously know that from 1982 to 2007, that airport hosted IndyCar racing. It was some of the best. To me, go watch it on you. After Unverified, this is my homework assignment to all of you listening. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch the 1995 Cleveland Grand Prix. You'll thank me later. Banger of a race, one of the best ever. Or 93. 93 is another good one. but just like a racetrack, a road course, a street course, a temporary course that put on racing that is on par with any of the racing that we've seen on any type of track, oval, road course, whatever. And it was one of the casualties of the merger. We lost it in 2007. Paul Tracy won the last race. He lost his wing like on the first lap, came back from the back of the field and won it. So like there's a lot of history there. Obviously, we know about Ohio and the support that IndyCar racing has there. I get it's another Midwest city. I don't care. I don't care, race fans.
Let me stop you right there. I want
Yes.
to bring in Kyle. Having somebody glaze this racetrack in this city with the Tigers hat on is kind of like juggling balls that are on fire. I want to hear from Kyle, who is from Ohio, that understands what's going on. I want to know two things, Kyle. One, this would be cool. I mean, look, yeah, I understand what you said, David, about another Midwest race, but honestly, like, there's not really any street courses near here besides Detroit, okay, which is, I don't mind Detroit. Some people don't like it the weekend after the 500, understand that. But, Kyle, let me ask you, as somebody from Ohio, what is that racing fan base like in northern Ohio, and what would this do to the possibility in the future of Mid-Ohio?
The fan base is pretty big. Damn it. I keep pressing.
Bye, Kyle.
The fan base is pretty big. I think it would survive. You could run both in the same season. Look, I mean, look at honestly, I was just looking at because I thought, and I was like, oh, they ran both on the 03 calendar, right? And yes, they did. Also, side note, your other homework assignment is go look at the 2003 Champ Car schedule. Holy shit. That's what a calendar. 30 races. Yeah, I got
30
there.
What?
Dude, yeah.
They didn't run 30 races in 2003. Are you crazy? They didn't have enough money to run as many as they did. Wait a second.
There's no way.
I got to They didn't run 30.
This must be combining IRL and kart. It is.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Woo. Yeah. I mean, it's a banger of a schedule. If you combine the 2003 IRL and kart schedules, it was a perfect schedule.
If Indianapolis is on it, it's definitely combined.
Yeah, sidetracked. But yeah, actually, go look at that because that 30 race combined schedule of IRL Champ Car is pretty bitchin'.
I will say, I do have it up. The 2003 Champ Car schedule started at St. Pete. They went to Mexico, Long Beach, Brands Hatch, Lausitz Ring, Milwaukee, Laguna, Portland, Cleveland, Toronto, Vancouver, Elkhart Lake, Mid-Ohio, Montreal, Denver, Miami. That was a street course. Mexico City, twice in Mexico in one season. Ended the season at Surfer's Paradise. They almost raced outside the U.S. more than they raced inside of the U.S. in 2003. Sorry, Kyle, go on.
It's so badass. Anyways, they could run both in the same year. It's just I'm worried that they wouldn't go to Berkeley Lakefront Airport. I'm worried that they would do a street race downtown, which is kind of the same thing that happens at Detroit, right? So you'd have two street races pretty much within an hour of each other, maybe less than that. So that would suck. And I think it could survive off of running the Berkeley Lakefront Airport just off of nostalgia alone. And just you would get all of the big IndyCar fans in Ohio, in Indianapolis, and Michigan all together. And I think it'd make for a huge event. Now, it better not get rid of Mid-Ohio, honestly, because that is the one race on our calendar that we've had every year since 07. It packs the house every year, and it's only getting bigger because the date equity of being on July 4th weekend has been slowly building over the last couple of seasons. And honestly, when you could look at the two, like I would rather go to Mid-Ohio than a street race, like another street. I love street racing. It's great. But just overall, if they were to fully replace it and put on the 4th of July weekend, I want to be somewhere where I can grill, hang out, have some space, be under a canopy all day, not a street course where I'm in parking garages and on the streets, baking in the sun with, at a place where they probably won't let me bring a cooler in, for example, So, like, that's just my 2 cents.
Well, can you highlight Stan's comment real quick? Because I feel like because you mentioned the crowd, right? I feel like we really need to address the real quick elephant in the room, which is that this Cleveland is targeted for 2028. Well, a big reason that Mid-Ohio happens is because of Honda. And if they're not there in 2028 and all of a sudden there's another Ohio race kind of positioning itself. I'm not saying that means anything, and I think, Kyle, absolutely there could be because if we can race twice in Wisconsin, I know probably Tony's about to bring this point up. If we can race twice in Wisconsin and we can race twice in Indiana, within 2 weeks at the same track, like I feel like it'll be okay. Like we can get away with it.
David, are you saying that the Honda puzzle pieces could be coming together to stay on the schedule or to stay in the circuit? Could we see Honda stay?
I'll put it this way.
Or is the puzzle breaking up?
Well, I listen.
This
You
is
could
pure
flip
rumors and speculation.
You could flip a coin on it. I think. I mean, the truth is nobody outside of those walls knows right now. But I would say this: it's the end of the fiscal year. I don't know where Tony's going. I'll just say this: it's the end of the fiscal year. These decisions, whatever decision that they've made, they've probably already made. So we're going to find out about it one way or another here real soon.
Okay,
that's the truth of the matter. I think
we're gonna find out right now, race fans, if Honda is staying or if they are going.
This is crazy.
A heads on the Thermal Club coin is they are staying. A tails on the Thermal Club coin is they are going. We're gonna flip it. We're gonna flip it and then flip it. Here we go. Heads they stay, tails they go. Heads. You heard it here first, race fans. Honda will be staying in IndyCar through 2030. Breaking news, dude, bro, sources, rumors, and speculations, race fans. Honda staying. You heard it here first. This is what you come here for.
Thank you, Thermal Coin.
Thank you, Thermal Club. Thermal Club did it.
Yep.
They saved us.
All 174 people watching, please like and subscribe. Thanks for being here. You heard it here first.
Well, there you go. We flipped the Thermal Club coin. I think is gonna. Wow. I think we've got a new bit, race fans. I was not expecting that, but you know what?
The Honda puzzle pieces are coming together.
Cinema.
Wait a second. Hold on a second. Get that back up. You have a Honda puzzle?
It's a Hy-Vee puzzle.
Oh, it's a Hy-Vee puzzle.
Yeah, it's a Hy-Vee puzzle.
Oh, okay. I was like, Tony's bringing props to this thing. What is going on?
Honestly, I put it up today to do it, and I literally saw the Honda piece, and I was like, well, this could fit in perfectly with what we're trying to figure out.
Well done. So there you go.
Why go anywhere else?
So there you go. So, but again, like we've been saying, let's say Mid Ohio's on the schedule in 2028, which I don't imagine it wouldn't be. So again, especially if they're separated even a little bit, like how separated were they in 2003?
Probably in June to August or early, mid-June to late July.
Yeah, it's literally a month apart. So they raced at Cleveland on July 5th, and they raced in Mid-Ohio on August 10th. Mm-hmm. So literally a month apart. So, again, there's plenty of space on the calendar to do something like this. They are two different metropolitan areas, and if you have all the dealership tickets going out and you're filling Mid-Ohio with that, and it's kind of like the Honda Picnic, that event is self-sustaining. Cleveland is a totally different metropolitan area. It's like Kyle mentioned, it's got the nostalgia of Burke Lakefront, and I think there'll be a grassroots kind of if it's there, if it's a street course, and because that would be the most depressing thing of all time to me is if I have to go to Cleveland and I have to look at Burke Lakefront and go, it's literally right there. And we're racing on the streets? Are you kidding me? I would be so... You think... Because Kyle knows. I get a little... What is it? The Thursday of the Grand Prix. I get a little testy. Get a little...
Thursday and Friday of the GP are David's least favorite days of the year.
I get a little grumpy. There's a couple other races in the season where the Thursday or Friday I'm kind of grumpy. But I would be grumpy the entire time if I had to especially if because I'm sure the highway goes right by there, right? So be driving into the track and I'd be I'd be making that cat, that cat noise I make. I'd be I would be doing that every morning.
Oh, I thought you meant meow 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 meow.
No, because I don't watch AI slop. My God,
that's on you. That's not on me.
All right, Tony. What do you think about Cleveland? Because we've let you. We've waffled quite a bit. It's time for you to waffle. What do you think about Cleveland and the possibility of it coming back?
So here's where I stand on it. One, I want to wait to hear some form of official word inside of IndyCar. Not that I trust Sternbaum. Trust me, I like Stern a lot, but what have I said for a long time? It's that Mark Miles is continuing to say things that don't end up happening, writing checks that don't cash. So I'm going to give them an opportunity to come out and say, yes, this is exactly what we're looking to do. I do not want to go to Cleveland if it means sacrificing Mid-Ohio. I think Mid-Ohio is a staple on the schedule. I think what Kyle said was a great point as far as having it every year on 4th of July. You know it's going to be there. You camp out. It's Americana. It's IndyCar racing at its finest. It's a lot of fun. If you do go back to Cleveland, I would understand from a marketing and a Mark Miles standpoint of saying we can't go back to the old us. I could 100% see them doing some form of street course in Cleveland, but you're right. And I'm going to honestly, maybe because I'm an IRL kid, I'm going to feel a little bit this way in Arlington next year going, man, this is cool, but there's like a really badass oval, like within 40 minutes of here or within 20 minutes of here. So, if it happens, great. But I'm gonna take what I've been doing most of the season is I'm gonna allow them to say something officially. Like I trust Stern. I know Stern's on this, and I'm sure it has been discussed internally inside of the IndyCar offices. But I want to make sure that I hear this from Mark Miles on the record that this is the possibility. Because if it doesn't happen and he starts saying things that don't come to fruition, it's gonna continue to be just another one of those things that was brought up and it ended up being a pipe dream. Because now it's Cleveland, then it was Denver. Are we gonna end up in DC? Are we gonna end up in Mexico City? What other street courses are we gonna have? Why don't we just do a street course in downtown Indianapolis and say the hell with the road course?
Because there's too many short drivers. We'd lose some of them in the potholes.
Well,
the issue, but I'm gonna say this again. IndyCar has not commented on this at all.
Yep.
Well,
this is the greater Cleveland.
They haven't commented on this.
Correct.
But the start of the article by Cleveland 19, which I'll go back to it, they specifically said, first line, that IndyCar confirmed to them that there have been talks. That IndyCar has confirmed to 19 News that it's exploring the possibility of bringing a race to Cleveland potentially by 2028. And that positive discussions have taken place, and then it goes to the Cleveland Sports Commission, which tells me there's two sides and they're both talking. But I do agree with Tony's point where, like, there comes a point in all of these, like, yeah, we're talking about it, we're exploring the possibilities here, where it's just like, what's the what WWE character has you've made the list bit?
Oh,
that's kind of what it feels like. It's like, oh, it's on the list. There another just put like city name, event title.
Well,
could happen.
No pun intended. No pun intended. But they have a hard time getting past the checkered flag or getting past the finish line with a lot of these things that they promote. They think is going to happen. They put together, and it doesn't matter if it's a racetrack. It doesn't matter if it's a video game. It doesn't matter if it's a line of sports cards. It doesn't matter. Just make it happen. I don't need. Oh well, we couldn't. Like you are paid to make it happen. And if you don't think it is going to be, made. It's like going on a date for like the first and second date. You go and you tell your buddies like, I love this girl. Like this is it, man. I'm gonna get married. And all of your buddies like, yeah, dude. All right, cool. But like, are you sure? Because it's only been 2 dates, and then you get 3 months down the line, and it's like, oh yeah, no, that didn't work out. Sorry, we're gonna look for newer, better things.
Well, yes and no. I mean, again, they only have what? They didn't even give a direct quote here. Like Kyle said, it just says positive discussions have taken place, and they are exploring like. I guess I'll put it this way: would we rather them not explore? Like, I know what my answer is. God bless America, explore the possibility. Because, I mean, it's much better than, because you just complained about Mark's, previous stance that he made in his big old rant at Milwaukee last year, where it's like, well, we shouldn't be going back to the old places, and, Pato doesn't have it draw anybody, and then they had the great crowd at Milwaukee, and then, they fumbled Mexico. But would I rather them, like, because back in the day, the Cleveland Grand Prix almost came back like 10 years ago, and they had a title sponsor and everything. And that sponsor ultimately was taken and given to IMS rather than rather than create a race at Cleveland. So there already was a point where this race almost came back already. So that you don't get a lot of second, if we're going to talk about the dating market, you don't get a lot of second chances, right? And this is a third chance if you think about it. So if Cleveland's coming knocking at this point in history, and we know what kind of racing that could put on, we know, hi, I'm a fan. I've been complaining. I've been complaining that I haven't been in Cleveland probably since 2007. Okay, so I know I'm not the only one. And so they have to explore the possibility. So I'm glad that they are. They haven't. What they say? Positive discussions. Positive discussions have taken place. That's it.
So you're going to hate what I'm about to say, David. So let me just preference.
That's fine.
You're not going to like this because you're going to say, well, Nashville and Mid-Ohio and Indianapolis. If we're looking into markets such as Cleveland, why aren't we looking into markets more that have a consistent top market of viewership, and that would be Louisville. If we're going to talk about Cleveland, we're going to talk about being close to Detroit and being close to Mid-Ohio, Louisville is consistently top 3 in the market. I'm not saying doing it during the Derby. That's a tongue twister. But why not a place where your ratings are constantly good and you can have people show up?
Because there's a Cleveland Sports Commission knocking on your door right now, and is there anybody in Louisville?
So is it Cleveland Sports Commission that's knocking on the door, or is it IndyCar? Or is it IndyCar going to Cleveland?
If you want to bring up the dating market and point this to use that as an example, you might want the Las Vegas Grand Prix. She might be, man, everything you want, but she don't want you, little bro. She don't want you. She want Formula One. All right, that's why we can't go to bigger markets that are gonna actually make a big difference. You have Cleveland knocking on your door.
So is that
Did Cleveland
ask out?
Cleveland was super hot in 1995. Okay? So if we're gonna go to the dating market, who's giving public statements? It's Cleveland. Cleveland wants IndyCar. Cleveland was really hot in 1995. Cleveland still looked damn good in 2007. You know what? Look, I get it. It's not Las Vegas. It's not Las Vegas. I wouldn't even say it's Arlington. But you know what? Every now and then,
it's Cougar.
There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with a girl from the Midwest. That's all I'm saying. Nothing wrong with it. Race fans.
It could be the Capri Sun Grand Prix from Cleveland.
I would settle for I don't even know. What's a Cleveland thing? I don't even know the only thing I know about Cleveland is the Burke Lakefront Airport. Kyle, what is a Cleveland thing? Give me a brand.
Quicken Loans.
We like pierogies.
The Pierogi Grand Prix of Cleveland? Is that what we're going to call the race?
Quicken Loans.
Wasn't Quicken Loans a Penske sponsor?
Field. Progressive. It'd be the Progressive Grand Prix.
That's fine. Whatever we got to name it to get it done. It could be the Gallagher Grand Prix of Cleveland. I don't care. Let's make it happen.
Cool. It'll happen about when Denver happens, or Mexico, or.
You know what is funny is that the minute I heard that Cleveland might, I am more confident that Cleveland will happen than I am that Mexico City will happen. Is that bad?
In what year?
The 2028. I think it's more likely that Cleveland will be on the schedule than Mexico City in 2028.
I will make you a bet. In 2028, Cleveland will not be on the schedule. If they are, I will buy you the event T-shirt when we get there.
Okay, that's fair. What will be on the schedule then? Denver? Mexico City, Washington D.C., Richmond, IRP. Okay, well, I guess the new car is going to be real small then. They're going to start racing the USF 2000 car, and then we can race at IRP. But
we're going to have the Skyline Chili Grand Prix. Somebody said, wink, wink.
I thought that was a Mid-Ohio thing. The Mid-Ohio race should be the Skyline Chili Grand Prix, presented by the
Skyline is a Cincinnati thing. That is not.
Oh, so there you go. The Louisville market. So we'll have the Skyline Chili Grand Prix of Louisville
brought to you by Belterra.
Oh my God, Belterra. So I have a very small story about Belterra. There was a point where I had an entire decal set of Belterra logos that were originally supposed to go on Chris Meninga. Chris Meninga That is who I am referencing right now. Tony knows. So we're talking. You want to talk about IRL knowledge, IRL lore? Chris Meninga was driving. I don't even think it was the third Hemmelgarn car or the second Hemmelgarn car. It was the third Hemmelgarn car in 2001. And for some reason, my dad ended up with the full set of stickers because Belterra was supposed to be the primary sponsor on that car. It never happened, but we had the whole sticker sheet that was supposed to go on that car. So Belterra, which was also the sponsor of the Kentucky race back then.
Yeah, when did Buddy this year win that? Was it 2000 or 2001?
Buddy won. I think Buddy definitely won the first one, and I think he won the second one. I think he went back to back at Kentucky, if I remember correctly. Because
I'm gonna say this as an IRL fan. Cleveland and Denver and all these grand cities are awesome, but can we make a little bit more of an effort to be proactive for a Michigan or a Kentucky? Maybe. Just gonna throw that out there.
Well, Michigan would be all. I mean, Michigan is kind of my next. Like if we're going down the list, I'm feeling pretty confident because I've got my Milwaukee back.
Yep. And
I've got my Milwaukee doubleheader back, which is even better. We're literally Cleveland is not like Cleveland could come back. Like she's texted, so we're good. We just like she threw the hay out there. You know what I mean? Like it's like
she posted the photo of her and the kids, but he wasn't in it.
She looking real single on Facebook right now. That's all I'm saying. Michigan, we're gonna work on Michigan. We're gonna get that PJ1 off of there. We're gonna have a great
selfies.
Oh boy.
This content.
I'm glad it's a 6-month off season, race fans.
There's so much time left.
Yeah, there's a lot of time left. There's a lot of time. We're already at this point. But Michigan, I'm telling you what, I feel like I'm 1.5 for 3 right now. If we get them all back, why we got Phoenix back? Can we talk about that for a second? Who was when we started Unverified, and I had said on the first show, I would have said, we're going to be racing in Phoenix next year. It's going to be a doubleheader with NASCAR. You guys all would have said I was freaking out of my mind, crazy Looney Tunes, nuts. Well, that's happening next year. No one's talking about it. Why are we not talking about that?
Yeah, why? Well, that needs to be sold out. It really does.
Really, it was first mentioned on the show when we talked about what are some of the things that Fox buying into IndyCar could do for the sport, and we thought it would be a doubleheader. We didn't know where. Thought that was certainly a possibility. And we learned from Racer Magazine that it looks like these drivers and these teams might be making a little bit more money next year.
Yeah, well, Tony, you're always about the prize money. Explain that.
Well, I mean, look, I think I had a good conversation today with a good friend that knows a lot in motorsports, and what have we talked about? I mean, the only thing that the Indianapolis 500 pole winner doesn't get that the 1994 Allenser Jr. did was the cargo van, right? It's $100,000. I think bare minimum, if you qualify on the Indianapolis 500 pole, you should get $330,000 as the prize, which I believe is the lowest amount you can make if you're a non-chartered car that makes the Indianapolis 500. I think that should be bare minimum. I think that, there should be a little bit more return because these teams, if you're making, maybe I'm wrong here, David, you could tell me, if you're making more money off of the prize money, and I know there's still a huge gap, trust me, there's probably still a massive gap, and we're probably years away from this. But if you're making more money off the racing side of things, does that start to lean into the direction of I'm going to bring in a driver that has talent over a driver that can just sign a massive check?
Well, yeah, obviously. I think that's where every team would want to be. Like, I mean, well, then again, there might be like 1 or 2 teams, and maybe we're about to talk about them that sometimes feel like they just don't want to hire anybody who like there's some teams that you just kind of sit there and you scratch your head and you go, do you want to win? Yeah. Like, what are we doing here? But I think generally speaking, every team in IndyCar wants to field the best team that they can with the best drivers, the best engineers, the best engines, the best, dampers, all of that stuff. And the more money you can make the teams, the easier it is for them to do that. But again, it's good that the money that is being given to the teams through the charter system, through the leader circle is going up. That's fantastic. What I guess I don't understand is why every team with a charter doesn't get money from the leader circle. I still don't understand that, but I guess it's good for the teams that made it this year.
So speaking of that, we have testing coming up starting tomorrow at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. And obviously the big name is Mick Schumacher. He will be testing for Rahal. There's been a lot of rumors,
That's
speculation,
not
and
happening
questions.
tomorrow.
Yeah, he's at the IMS
He's at
road
Indy
course.
tomorrow. Yeah, he's at Indy coming up in a couple weeks. Tomorrow is Kyle Collette, I believe. Niels Coolin is testing at Mid-Ohio tomorrow. And
Who is Kyle testing for?
Kyle
Foyt.
is testing for AJ Foyt.
Okay. That I was just making sure. And then it's Kaku Ota.
Yep.
For Meyer Shank Racing, which is very interesting for a lot of reasons. There was a lot of talk that this was going to happen on Indy IMSA weekend. RJ O'Connell of Racers got a great article actually talking about that, so I should give him a shout out because he was kind of sniffing it out throughout the weekend. But Ota's so here's why we should pay attention to Ota. First of all, that kid was real fast at the Indy 6 hour. He was the only one that really hustled the 31 Cadillac on pace at all during that race. He's one of Honda's favorites. A young kid from Japan, comes up the same way that Alex Palou came up. So right now, actually, he's battling for the Super Formula Championship as we speak. So he drives a car comparable to an Indy car right now. He has had desires to race Indy cars, specifically the Indy 500. We know Takuma Sato's beginning to kind of get to the end of his career.
Great point.
We expect that Takuma is going to continue at least for a little while longer. But when you're talking, and again, I put it in the damn swear jar. We're talking about Honda again. But like, if you're looking to the future, don't read too much into this, but it ain't a bad thing that Honda's new favorite driver, a young kid from Japan, is testing an IndyCar and has desires to go to IndyCar. And yes, there's a Formula One program with Aston Martin. Yes, you've got opportunities that he could go race in Japan. Yes, he could go full-time IMSA, and he very well could next year. But it's not a bad thing that he's testing an IndyCar from that perspective. So he's a young, exciting kid. I think he could be real strong if he gets a real opportunity.
How much does this line up with the rumors that we have heard that Meyer Shank is entertaining a third car as early as next year, but more than likely 2027?
I think that's significant. I think it's because, again, it depends where they end up placing him, whether they keep him in Japan, whether it's racing in Super Formula or moving him up to the Super GT series, whether it's keeping him in the U.S. and racing full-time in IMSA. IndyCar would make a ton of sense, especially if they're staying. Because I think just having a full-time Japanese driver would be huge for Honda Japan, especially with them being more involved now. So, but again, we're looking down the line. But yes, the rumors about Shank potentially expanding, that's real as far as I know. So it would make a lot of sense from that perspective, especially considering that Meyer Shank is kind of, in a way, a Honda factory team with the involvement over on the IMSA side. So it would make sense that he has some comfort level with that team already. And if you want to move him over to IndyCar, that would be the place to go. We'll see what will happen, though. I think Meyer Shank Racing is going to be a very interesting, silly season 2026, right? Like, as we get to the end of the year, what's going to happen with that team and what it looks like going into 27, 28, and beyond.
With this tomorrow, Kyle Collette, he told me at Nashville if he can find the money that they would love to take that money to the 4-car. I think they are trying to prove. I'm talking about the Kyle Collette camp that I've talked to and know pretty well. They are going to use this test as a, hey, this is the money that we have. We are going to spend this amount of money for the test. We want to prove that we are capable of being in an Indy car and to consider us for the 4-car. I, as you know, have been very high on Kyle Collette for a long time. I think he has the talent to be in that race car. Again, this is going to come down to the talent level, and the money level may not be lining up as it should to land that ride. And then for Chip Ganassi Racing, Niels Coulin's going to get an opportunity to test and just kind of get the feel of what it's like to be in an Indy car, and that comes up tomorrow from Mid-Ohio.
So to be clear, at least a couple. Obviously, Ota's a little bit of a different situation, but you have 2 drivers from the Indy Next Championship, and you get those opportunities, correct? If you run an Indy Next driver, you get extra testing days. Is that how that works? Do you know exactly how that works, Tony?
So you do get extra. I think it's a half day of extra testing. So this is not out of the norm, right? We've seen this a lot to where an Indy Next driver who may not have the results in Indy Next to say, yeah, I'm ready to go IndyCar racing. But there is, it's. I mean, from an owner standpoint, it's a win-win because you get some extra test time. You probably get an extra fat check as well, because this is not a cheap thing. It's not a cheap thing to test at Mid-Ohio, and even though most of the teams are here in Indianapolis, it's not a cheap thing to test at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway either on the road courses. And it's still a risk. You're risking possibly wadding up a race car and adding, and adding that element to it. So, but yes, you do get extra testing time if you do put a driver in the race car that is from Indy Next, and then others like Penske decide to put somebody like Felipe Nasser in there to kind of maybe see what he can do. And, maybe you go back and say, hey, we learned something from him, or, hey, maybe this is a possibility later on in the future. You want to have a roster when it comes time to having drivers that are possibly at the end of their contracts. Or, as we saw, obviously the Malukas thing is one thing, but there are a lot of teams that say, okay, well, we tested this guy. This is what we learned. Let's consider him. And is it worth it to put this driver A into the car and worry about the financial side of it later and bringing in sponsors?
What's interesting? There's a couple of points I wanted to talk about there. I remember I was on a media call with Penske Porsche Motorsport early this season, believe it or not. It was before all this stuff went down, and Jonathan Duguid, I believe, was on that call. And if I remember correctly, actually, there's a thought process with Penske, which I find pretty interesting. We've talked about Felipe Nasser driving the IndyCar. He drove it last year, I believe, as well. Ricky Taylor has driven it when he drove for Penske. As I understand it, that's actually an incentive that Penske does with their sports car guys to kind of keep them around. Be like, hey, we're not saying we're going to give you an IndyCar ride, but if you would like to test for us at Sebring, that's a way to kind of keep some of their drivers loyal to them. Just like, hey, would you like to come test an IndyCar? Most people aren't going to say no to that. So that's kind of an interesting path that Penske kind of takes with it. I mean, I wouldn't say like, oh yeah, Felipe Nasser is going to drive an IndyCar, on a regular basis anytime soon. But Niels Coulin, I don't think really has a shot at Ganassi in the near future. So that really is just like, hey, we get an extra half day of testing. Hey, Niels is probably paying for it. More power to him. Let's get some data.
Definitely is.
Definitely is. The thing that I'm really interested in is Caio Collet, right? Because it sounds to me like it's Caio versus Jacob Abel for that seat, correct? So here's kind of the first volley in that battle between the two drivers to see who's going to get the AJ Foyt seat for next year.
I would agree. It makes a lot of sense, as we talked about on the show. We talked about it last week of Jacob Abel landing that ride, but Caio told me, hey, if we can get the budget, we've got an opportunity to land there. And I think that he is a really good driver. I'm not sure that his second year at HMD really showed what he could do. Yeah, he won a couple races, was dominant at Laguna Seca. I do think HMD as a whole took a step back this year. Maybe not necessarily their fault, but just, a lot of the talent on that team was in their first season inside of Indy Next. Breaking news from Racer Magazine. We want to get this out there. I know it's been brought up in the chat, so David, we'll get you right on the spot reaction to this. Competition and race engineering VP Bill Pappas leaves IndyCar. No reason was given for the split. The veteran race engineer joined IndyCar's engineering department after working with some of the best open-wheel teams in kart and the unified IndyCar series. Pappas moved into the new series-based role in 2016 to replace the ongoing Will Phillips and has served as one of IndyCar's technical leaders alongside former race engineer and chassis designer Tino Belli, who oversees aerodynamics. During his time at IndyCar, Pappas was part of several significant engineering programs. Racer understands the series will look to replace Pappas and add more staff to the department as it ramps up to introduce a new chassis and engine package in 2028.
Oh boy. Okay, so that's interesting. Because the last line of that article, which says they're not only looking to replace Pappas, but add more staff to that department. Oh boy, where are we with the new car? Like, what's going on here?
Who's taking the reins on that? Who is the if we had a question about it, or somebody in the media had a question about it, are we going to Doug? Like, who are we going to on that? And also, I'll ask you this, David: is this maybe something where the writing was on the wall for Bill Pappas because we had heard about it and it's kind of gone silent, and I think it's going to happen? Is the fact that there's going to be an independent counsel that is part of race control / technical inspection.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering. Is this kind of the first wave of people being let go? It's hard to know. It's so hard to know if they're not going to give a reason. It's hard to know exactly what the reasoning is. I don't know. I don't want to speculate on what the reasoning is. I think we're going to see. I mean, we need to hear about this independent sporting council at some point, right? Like publicly, yeah. I would assume. So,
and don't you think it's something that you would want to get done and hired sooner? Yes, I understand there's a process of the hiring, but wouldn't you want to get it done sooner rather than later when testing is going on? As like hey, we're gonna treat this test as almost like an IndyCar weekend to bring this independent counsel in and give them opportunities to know what they're looking for, to know what a race weekend looks like. And there's obviously the road course test. There's a test on the Speedway's oval next month. We're going to talk about. There's going to be a test out at Phoenix. There's going to be, obviously, they will definitely have this done by the time they do a test out west in early 2026.
Yeah, and I would assume that would be where the first kind of official rollout of this would be, I assume. But again, we've heard so little about this, and I don't know. That's the thing, is that I don't know if this is related to the Independent Sporting Council. The way it's written seems to indicate that it's more about like the chassis, the new chassis, which, the chat's kind of having my trepidation about that, which is like, I hope that's not because that's just like, we've got like, you delayed it again. You delayed it again, right? And I applauded them at the time. I said, I don't like this, but thanks for finally just saying you're doing it. But you have to commit to 2028. You have to, like, there, because how much longer are you going to run with this current formula?
Yeah,
like, you've already got a gap year. Like, this whole thing's already kind of screwed up, because right now you have Honda and Chevy, both who have not re-signed yet, potentially having to bring their old equipment back for one more year. And then commit to a different, like, it's just like, it's starting to get real messy, and just, I don't know why we're making it messy. Why are we making it messy? Okay, so there you go.
IndyCar, because it's IndyCar.
Well, I know, but like we've been talking all this positive stuff. The old girlfriends are knocking on the door again. Like, we're gonna party like it's 1995, but then we have articles drop like this. We're going, oh.
Cleveland's got a divorce, but she's still good looking, but she got a couple kids.
Well, you know what? I might finally get my dream of seeing a DW12 race at Cleveland, because I always thought that they ought to just bring the 2012 bodywork back, because that would be the most unbelievable race of all time. Should we talk about like the IMS test too? We titled this damn thing Mick Schumacher. We have not talked about. Kyle, can you start us off? You're a Zoomer. You know about Formula One. Talk about Mick Schumacher, who, by the way, congratulations Alpine for winning the World Endurance Championship race at Fuji. That was huge. What a great race! They finally figured BOP out.
Well,
it's amazing.
Okay, first of all, Fuji is usually the best WEC race of the season.
That's true.
Don't be surprised,
because they got rid of Sebring.
Right. But like Mick Schumacher, I'm happy that there's first of all on the list. Happy there's IndyCars on track at IMS this month. Very cool. Yeah. Second, Mick Schumacher, first time in a Schumacher has been in IndyCar. I think that's really the approach that my brain's kind of taking it is, we wish that Michael was there to see it. I wonder what he would have thought about this, right? Given his stance on IndyCar. But, we see a former Formula One driver, a guy who only raced for Haas. And there were flashes. I'm actually currently reading the book, the Gunther Steiner book on the season where Mick just tore up a ton of cars. And so he had flashes throughout his time in F1. I believe he did 2 seasons. He had flashes, but nothing crazy. And we got a report today that it all seems like if this test goes well, then they'll sign him to that car, which is intriguing, very interesting. So yeah, I'm very interested in how Mick's going to do, and I hope they let us go see it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
we're there. They're even going to serve us lunch.
Oh, great.
So
all right.
Told.
There you go. Well, because that would have been a huge fun. Like you bring the media out for this. This is, I mean, like Kyle mentioned, and I guess I hadn't even really thought about that because I guess I'm jaded at this point. I'm like, oh yeah, ho hum, it's Mick Schumacher. He's kind of been a journeyman driver for a little while. But yeah, I mean, a member of the Schumacher family has not driven an IndyCar in any capacity, which, that's interesting. And I guess I will say this, the comments Michael made in the 2000s were when Formula One was in a very different spot. Formula One was racing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, by the way, so that's why a lot of these, questions were lobbed at him. Michael Schumacher was also making $100 million a year at Ferrari. And he was being asked, would you go race the Indy 500? To which he said, why would I take the risk? I don't need to, which is fair, and I think he was a little harsher than that, which, it is what it is. Everybody, listen, in 2004, everybody was shitting on the Indy 500 and IndyCar. I'm not going to hold it against Michael Schumacher. Literally everybody was doing it. It was the cool thing to do. But yeah, no, I think that Mick would be, he would definitely be an interesting add to the grid. He's a big name. He's got a following. Okay, Rahal would sign him. So then presumably Devlin out?
Devlin goes to the basement.
Okay, so oh my God. He gets added to the collection. They're going to put him on the shelf next to Toby and
no, he's got to release somebody. You can only have two in the basement at a time. So
okay.
What's
well, Yuri's been in there longer, right? So you gotta let Yuri go, unless they're just attached to Yuri. They're just like Yuri. He's just part of the furniture now. Yeah. Like we just gotta keep. Like he's been here, for 3 years. We put him in a race.
The bodies are buried. he knows down there what's been going on. Yeah, no, it's interesting. We'll be out there. I mean, that'll be a lot of fun to check out. And as
who else is testing with him?
Christian Rasmussen and Alexander Rossi from Ed Carpenter Racing, and there was one other.
Well, Lundgaard would be with Rasmussen or Lundgaard.
It's Rasmussen. It's both Ed Carpenter cars.
Oh, both Ed Carpenter cars. Okay.
It's Mick, and there's somebody else. Who was the other? I forget who it was, but I'm sure that there will be one other. Because usually you don't do a 3-car test. There'll definitely be 4 cars there.
Yeah.
Well, we know it's not Will Power.
Yes.
It's not going to be Will Power.
Yeah.
So,
not Will Power.
So that is, I believe, I got the date on that. Let me check. Do you have the exact date on that, David?
No, I don't. It's October 13th. Something. Yeah.
13th.
So October 13th is the road course test at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And then October 21st and 22nd is the Indy Oval test coming up. So,
hey, big shout out. Can I just need to go on my soapbox again. I'm sorry, I'm going to glaze here. Hey, IndyCar, just thank you for not clashing that oval test with Petit Le Mans this year. Like, there was no reason to do that. I mean, like, I just let me have the two things I like. Okay, I like two things. I like Road Atlanta and I like the IMS Oval. Don't make me choose. And you didn't make me choose this year. I'm so excited.
Yes,
would be so happy.
Is it? Yes, I believe it is Enzo Fittipaldi at McLaren. Is that?
Oh,
is
that
yeah.
There you go. Okay.
How quickly didn't he just test the next car last week too? At
I think either that or his brother. It was either that or his brother. I can't remember one of the two. So here's my fact of the day. Here's my random fact of the day. So we have talked about all these random ass drivers driving for random ass teams that'll probably never drive an IndyCar race ever.
Yep.
So here's my fact of the day, which I always think is so fun to point out because a lot of people don't know that this happened. Sebring, early 2014, Pippo Durrani tested for Panther Racing. Panther Racing folded before the beginning of the season, but there's a universe where Pippo Durrani was driving for Panther in the 2014 IndyCar season. Didn't happen, but it almost did.
KP Digital, have a great time when you bring your grandkids up from Evansville to the museum on October 11th. If you haven't been, you're going to absolutely love it. The three of us can't recommend going there enough. There's so much to do, especially if you're bringing your grandkids. There's a lot of interactive things to do inside of the IMS museum. It's an absolute blast. So let's get to that oval test coming up, what did I say, the 21st and the 22nd of October. Where do we stand on this, David? What have you heard?
I've heard it's happening. It's happening. I don't know. It's weird. Like, for some reason, like, there was like talk that it wasn't happening, and I don't know why. Like, they're repaving turn 2 for a reason, guys. Like, they're not doing that for no reason. But yeah, no, I apparently it's one car from every team. So you'll get,
I don't. That's what it has been. I have not gotten word that it's one car from every team. I've heard it's 4 cars.
Okay, so I've heard 2 different things. I've heard one car from every team, and I've seen a 4-car list. Mm-hmm. I don't know exactly what it is. I'll put it this way. Most recently, I heard it was 1 car from every team. Yep. Has that changed? I don't know. I've gotten 2 different pieces of information. One's 4 cars, and one's 1 car from every team. So that's the information I'm working with at the moment.
So from what I have heard on the schedule of the 4 cars is Ryan Hunter-Reay and Dreyer and Reinbold Racing. I have heard since that is not going to happen, and more than likely with the landing spot of Rinus VeeKay being at Juncos, which should be announced here, I would imagine relatively soon. You would hope before that test, but, could be wrong. And we are more than likely to see Connor Daly land in the Dreyer and Reinbold second seat, which maybe puts Ryan Hunter-Reay on the outside looking in. Is that possibly a landing spot at the 4th McLaren car? Because there's not a lot of options if Ryan Hunter-Reay wants to run the Indianapolis 500 next year, and it's not in a Dreyer and Reinbold car.
Yeah, and I think that would be ridiculous if Ryan Hunter-Reay's not in a car for the Indy 500 next year. I mean, do we just forget that the dude was like 20 laps away from winning the Indy 500 last year? Like, I'll put it this way. I'm not surprised that Connor's ending up, if that's true. I mean, so the whole thing with Rinus is I believe Rinus is going to Juncos, so logically it would also make sense that Connor would go to Dreyer. Excuse me, sorry. Have a little bit of a cold.
He's sick, race fans.
I'm a little bit sick, race fan. A little bit punky, but we're pushing through.
And not outrun the sun, race fans.
I don't have a sunburn. What are you talking about? I would not be surprised to see Connor at Dreyer and Reinbold, so it would make a lot of sense. I mean, I think a lot of us predicted that, but Jack Harvey, I think we haven't even talked about this. I think this was announced this week that Jack Harvey was announced as coming back, so that would fill that team. Yeah, I just would be yes. Kevin Lee apparently thinks Ryan Hunter-Reay to McLaren, so that would be a step up, and he would definitely, if McLaren, Zach Brown published an article recently that said, the team's very serious about winning the Indy 500, and I would say that from a team like building standpoint, Ryan would probably be a much stronger contribution to that team than like Kyle Larson was last year. And he also has a relationship with Tony Kanaan. I feel like we should point that out because that would be something that would make a lot of sense. I do want to point out one more thing, silly season-wise. Can we go back up to Nuke Shot Media? I just wanted to up a little bit about Tristan Vautier, which I think is interesting. His comment that Alex Palou is scheduled to do Petit Le Mans in the 93 Acura and is in court that day. So he is unable to do Petit Le Mans. Tristan Vautier, there's a name you probably haven't heard in a little while, returning to IMSA to try to win the Manufacturers Championship for Acura. So I don't know.
Yeah, Palou's overseas to what, early November?
I don't know exactly how long he's overseas. Again, so for me, I'm not a court reporter. Yeah. So I've been paying attention a little bit. I think today was the most I've paid attention because I just assumed it would go to mediation and we would never hear about it again. Apparently the mediation fell through. So now it's in frickin' court. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. It's become a lot more real recently than it was the last couple of weeks. So we'll kind of see where that goes. I mean, I'm not put it this way. I mean, a lot of money is probably going to change hands here. But I don't think a lot of other things are going to get affected. But that's tough. That's tough for Alex to have to miss a race that you were originally scheduled to race because you have to be in court. That's no fun.
It's been brought up in the chat a few times, and this could change, but everything that we've kind of heard, and I haven't heard this in a long time, and it really haven't heard it since coming out of May, maybe even early June, but more than likely Marco is back for one more year with Andretti. Obviously, that could change. That hasn't been mentioned officially yet, but everything that I have read, the signs would still say that Marco is going to come back. Now, you had a conversation earlier in the summer at Toronto with Zach Brown from McLaren. If Ryan Hunter-Reay is the fourth car at the Indianapolis 500 next year, David, would that be a second or a backup option to maybe somebody else that fell through?
Yeah, it's weird, and that's something I've been meaning to follow up on. Is that there had been some talk about like a blockbuster name driving for McLaren. That has gone pretty quiet recently, so I'll follow up this week and try to get a solid answer on that. The way Zach Brown described, well, how did he describe it to me? I think Zach was still kind of going along that line that it was kind of a driver from outside of IndyCar racing. But I feel like if it is Ryan Hunter-Reay, or if it has morphed into Ryan Hunter-Reay getting that seat, Ryan is kind of the exact driver you would want for that program, because you're very young at McLaren right now. You got Pato, who is a hell of a driver at the Indianapolis 500. He doesn't really need anybody to tell him what to do anymore. But if you look at Christian Lundgaard, who, had some speed last year, but wasn't at Pato pace, and Nolan Siegel, who really needs a lot of help at the Speedway, Ryan Hunter-Reay's exactly who you would want in that position. And again, he has chemistry with Tony, which I think would be, it would make a lot of sense. I haven't heard, again, I think this is a lot of speculation, but I think it would make a lot of sense if they went after Ryan Hunter-Reay, especially if their commercial option fell through.
And I would say this too, when he talked to you, he probably didn't think that Ryan Hunter-Reay was an option, but if you have the opportunity to run a former Indianapolis 500 winner, a former Indianapolis 500 winner who last year on a strategy call had a great opportunity to win the Indianapolis 500, and somebody who is not going to wreck the car unless Scott Dixon puts him in the pond inside of turn 3, I think that would be a good option. Do I think Ryan Hunter-Reay is going to all of a sudden become, a top 7 driver to, odds wise to win the Indianapolis 500? Probably not, but you're right. Could he help Pato along? Could he help Nolan Siegel along, who is a young American driver from California? I understand Ryan Hunter-Reay from Florida. Alan Bessick will tell you that every time, but he does have ties to California and obviously Long Beach, where he met his wife, those type of things. I'm not saying that those would make things go easily or smoothly, but I think, if you say, hey, what's another way that we can bring in somebody to help out Nolan Siegel? Well, why not put Ryan Hunter-Reay in the race car? Honestly, their builds are kind of the same, right? They're both tall, lean drivers. And so maybe that's just another, you look at Chip Ganassi and how many people are inside of that room that have the knowledge base. The more people that you can add inside of that McLaren and a debrief that has the knowledge of racing Indianapolis 500 and is doing it alongside, I think that would help Nolan. And again, I'm not saying you do this for Nolan, but you're doing a lot for Nolan to make sure that he has the results that should come from that car. Because as Tony Kanaan told me in our interview here on Unverified, he's on the line with Nolan Siegel. He said this is going to work out. He's going to be a driver that's going to be on this team for the future. So 2026 is nut up or shut up for Nolan Siegel. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, can we? I'll make it real clear. I think by the time we get to Detroit, we'll know what the future 100%. Of Nolan Siegel is going to be.
I would agree. Yeah. I would 100% agree. So we got testing coming up. We've got through a lot of the rumor mill type stuff, what we think is going to happen. Anything else on the agenda from you guys besides the fact that Detroit plays Cleveland again tomorrow in Game 2? Are you going, Kyle?
Nah, got a little sick. So.
We all got to recover to get to Atlanta, race fans. Yeah, we got to think about Atlanta. Think about Atlanta. We got to get to Atlanta. Don't blow it up.
Clean off the grill.
We got to get to Atlanta.
Don't speed.
Don't speed. We're definitely not speed. No, so I guess the last thing I would kind of point out, we don't have to go too far into this, but I've seen a lot of people talking about, extra entries for the Indy 500 and bumping. I think we're really reliant on. I mean, yes, I suppose. Well, no, we are really reliant on Prema sticking around for that. I think at this time we're hoping for that. But a long way to go. Long way to go with the Indy 500 entry list. And quite frankly, how many cars did we have this year? 34. So I think we could. I mean, we were real close to 35 this year as it was. So I don't think 35 is an unrealistic number to get to, but a long way to go. Way to go.
There's definitely a long way to go. It's kind of been silent around what's going on with Prema. Maybe they are waiting for other dominoes to fall. If what you heard originally about a one car per team test at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, I think that would be really telling next month. Although from what I was told, the latest was that obviously it's a 4-car test, but if it were to be, one car per team, that would be very telling to see if Prema was there and who would be in that car. Obviously, both of those drivers are under contract with the team through next year. So until I learn otherwise, David, I think they're going to run it back as long as I guess the money is there.
Is the money there? I mean,
that's the question.
Again, I feel like for the next 6 months, this is a lot of what we're going to say. I mean, and what we're going to say is going to shrink in time, of course. But right now, we got 6 months, right? Like, who knows? I mean, think how long think how much your life changes in 6 months. Like, I mean, my God, we're all going to be going into St. Pete next year. We're going to all be different people. So I don't know. God, I mean, I'm glad we have things to talk about, but like, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. Yes, Grosjean and Hinch did test Haas cars. Good for them. NASCAR ratings weren't the best. I thought the finish was pretty good on Sunday, and the drama that you had between Bubba and Denny. And I really enjoyed what Denny had to say yesterday on his podcast of basically like, look, when I'm in that race car, I am the driver of the number 11 car, and I'm going to drive the 23 car as just as aggressively on the last lap as I would drive anybody else. Obviously, he didn't have power steering. He mentioned Joe Gibbs pays him a lot of money to win races and to contend for a championship. So I thought it was great drama. I actually tuned in for that final restart. I thought that was a really good finish to what seemed to be an okay race. Zane Smith ended up going for a fence ride, but that's your quick 25-second NASCAR spiel from Sunday.
Yeah, they were really lucky that someone flipped over because everybody tuned into the NASCAR race for what was objectively a hell of a finish. It's a shame Mickey Mouse won it.
Hey, you know what? You take them any way that you can get them. All right, Kyle's cheering for Cleveland. David's got Detroit. I'm taking Seattle. If you're a baseball fan, put in the chat who you're taking to win this year's.
But it's okay. I'm cheering for Cleveland in 2028, baby.
There you go.
The Detroit hat's coming off in 2028 when we go back to Cleveland, race fans.
He's going to wear it in 2028.
Oh, I'm absolutely wearing it. I'm wearing it right to the track. It'll be this hat, too. I'll be like, hey, everybody. How you guys doing?
As always, thank you so much for watching here on Unverified. Like us on Instagram, here on YouTube as well. I pulled some awesome, I think I told you guys this, pulled some awesome cards from our friends at State 48. So I have a Yuri Vips 101 coming. So maybe he can sign it when he sees the daylight from the basement of the Rahal home. For everybody else, thank you so much for being here. Like and subscribe. Again, we're going to have you updated all week, a bunch of stuff, and we are looking forward to, the off season. I mean, we'll just see what we can get out of it. Right, David?
It's not the off season for us at IMSA. We got one more to go, race fans. We got one more to go. And that's the Indy 500 test. And then it's Super Nats at Vegas and the Las Vegas Grand Prix. And then it's preseason testing for IndyCar. You know what? Or no, the Rolex 24. Then preseason testing for IndyCar. Then we're all going to not live in our homes for March. You know what? It's fine. Christmas is going to be great because we're actually not going to have anything to do. It's okay.
Let's have a great October. We'll celebrate my birthday at IMS a couple of different occasions.
Bring all your King Griffey Jr. stuff. Let's party like it's 2024.
Or 1994.
I would love. Hey, look. I'm partying like it's 1995. We're gonna have Cleveland. You know what? We're gonna get the Michigan 500 back. It's gonna be great. We're gonna make it all happen. We're gonna put the puzzle pieces together. Race. Can you flip a coin? No, don't flip a coin on Michigan. We'll do that again. We'll do that again. There we go.
Some more puzzle pieces.
Okay, he's putting the puzzle together.
We're bringing back the thermal coin of destiny next week.
The thermal coin of destiny. That's incredible. All right. Well, on that note.